Pointed at me was a Glock 40, 10 millimeters. His orange afro glistened with rage. I cannot stand Ibanez.
That's the story of how I ran away from my house when I was 16.
Good evening, Black Rosary fan base. It has been too long since our last joining.
Indeed.
And today, we venture to the great lands of the dollar store. I want you all to know that I drive very safe. Eyes locked on the road, ears locked on the music. This will be very different than the Renaissance Fair video. There will be no little elves, little knights. It is just Draven 2000. This time,
There'll be little.
by Malachi, Sarsfield, Sweetwater Sound Gear, Sweetsa! Seems like we're always exploring somewhere. First it was Ibanez, Kentucky. Now it is Georgetown, Indiana.
I found a compromise, guys. You gotta use what's around you.
This is the perfect view. You can see the whole Black Rosary behind.
We look like we're filming getting so-and-so with so-and-so in a so-and-so video.
It's quite perfect. You know, we have a new song in the works. I know you all have been spoiled by our monthly upload schedule, but you'll have to make an exception, for this next one comes with a special caveat, that of which I will not tell. Expect many more posts from us. We are not dead. As they say, news of our death has been greatly exaggerated.
Yeah.
We promise a consistent upload schedule that is not a schedule, but is a schedule.
Listen, guys, the problem is you're an adult and sometimes you've got your occupation takes you over, but we've got some free time and we're trying to make it work.
In fact, we may be the most free of all the free cities of the United States of America.
Kentucky?
I just meant us as individuals. Malachi, what is your least favorite brand of guitar and why?
Well, this is just going to be some hater stuff, but I really dislike Fender, I dislike Squier, I dislike Gibson, and the reason being is not the instruments themselves. They're probably fine. I just dislike that everybody gravitates towards them for some reason. I just don't like how standard they become. It's bothersome. Well, Draven, how about you? What's your least favorite?
I cannot stand Ibanez. Ibanez players are the lowest of the low. They will buy a $1,200 cardboard guitar that says Ibanez and act like they're playing on the moon. No. BC Rich.
Let me ask you, how do you feel about the P basses and the Stratocasters?
If you have a valid argument for why you like cheap bolt-on guitars that are overpriced, put it in the comments. I would love to know your reasoning. I would love to know why I should care.
Oh, that's another thing I really dislike. I really dislike when you've got a really cool looking bass and then you turn it around, it's a non-painted bolt-on neck. That's like an instant turn-off for me.
If you all are going to tell me that my BC Riches are firewood, I want you to just save your breath. I've already heard that one. We are just turning into the dollar store where I will buy a new thing of chocolate milk. People ask me what fuels my passion for art. I tell them, cows. I think this is the only time they have.
Show them the product. Show them the product.
This is what we'll be getting today, Shamrock Farms.
Mediocrity, I say.
This is what you need right here. Oh, is that vanilla? I'm stealing that. Look, I had some of this. This was bunk.
I could have figured that. Oh, wait, hold on. Do you think this is good?
Yeah, get it. This is how we fuel our creative binges. I believe Sweets is partial to these. He likes the chewy cookies.
That's not true. I've grown out of this kind of thing in my days. It's the kind of thing you like as a kid, but as an adult it disgusts you.
The dreaded birthday section. I'm tired of getting candles that say 276. We have left the dollar store. Our haul was nothing special. 3 milks,
That is all.
Put the glasses back on. Look stoic.
Glasses too,
Malachi, where did you get those pitch vipers?
I have a lifestyle you guys do not know about. Deep down, I am a country lover. I drive four-wheelers and I shoot guns and I shotgun beer. And I fat. Oh shit, I can't say that. Never mind.
You're just gonna have to bleep it a bunch. This is our ad read for Black Rosary. If you like music not for total imbeciles, and you have a little modicum of class about you, you will listen to Black Rosary. We do not promise songs about heartbreak and women scouring the depths of a man's soul. Our music is prestigious. Our music is about life and death and the boundaries in between. It's also about heartbreak.
Why is it when you're supposed to come up with something to say, you just can't? What is this burden?
Let your shower thoughts out. Sweetsa,
Huh.
what is your Desert Island album?
Guys, I can't answer that. I'm sorry. I don't have one album that I go to regularly. Do you?
Yes.
Like, what album would be good enough? It'd have to be like a compilation album, an hour long, of like a certain genre. So let's say like I don't know, whatever you like.
Why don't we broaden it a little bit? Desert Island Band. You get access to all previous and new releases from that particular band.
Who's got it all, dude? Unleash the Archers might be a good.
That's what I was going to say. We
like-
love Unleash the Archers.
Because each of their albums has a different feel to it.
Keep an eye out for more videos in the vein of the Renaissance video. I greatly enjoyed making that one, and the next one, Sweetser should be joining me.
Yeah.
And it will be twice the chaos, twice the debauchery,
Double the trouble.
double the trouble, my friends. What is your ideal touring rig?
For me,
Yes.
a heart key. A heart key, a camper. Hey guys, we're kind of dry on topics, so I would like to disclose for you guys a very personal night to me. I'm going to talk about the night that I ran away from home, so that maybe it inspires some of you youngins to do the same. Anyways, I had a mother, and she was a controlling wench. I don't know what mental affliction makes you want to see people so unhappy, but she had it. Anytime I would get my own stuff, a couple weeks would go by, she would get upset and she would throw it away. So I grew up not having a whole lot. I had this phone and I had just got it. I made my mother upset and she threatened to throw my phone away, which I really wasn't having that. For one, I needed this phone. Phones were like my only entertainment source in that house. Watching YouTube, because I didn't really have much stuff. Like, all I had was that. And so I was like, no, I paid for this phone because I had just recently got a job at Taco Bell in order to get that phone. And I didn't want my hard work to go to waste. So I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And she tried to take it, and I ran out of the door. And then I called a couple people up. I think at first I called one of my fair weather friends, and he was like, well, that sucks. I'll talk to you later. And then I called him, and he was like, yeah, you can come spend the night at my house. And at that point, I thought, all right, maybe I'll just live with him for a while. So I went back in, and I told my mom if I couldn't have my freedom, then I would leave. And that was the last night I ever spent with that woman.
And how old were you?
I was 16 at the time. So anyways, that's the story of how I ran away from my house when I was 16.
So that's the story about how I pissed in the woods. I remember that comment said, in my opinion, this guy's hot.
I remember into Hell and Back when they had Neapolitan, but it was all strawberry.
He said, "You want some Neapolitan ice cream?" Well, it seems that somebody has eaten all the chocolate and vanilla.
Fair life.
That is not Fairlife, that is Shamrock.
Why'd they steal the packaging? Or not the packaging, why'd they steal the shape of the bottle?
Maybe it is a subsidiary. I have a story for you as well. Perhaps not as visceral as Sweetser's, but just as impactful in my life. Believe it or not, I have a high school education. I learned many things in high school. None of them were helpful. I took electricity class in my junior year. I was close to graduating, but I did not. And that is for a very good reason, I feel. Very good. See, my life was threatened at gunpoint. You may ask, how did this happen? How did you not kill him, smite him, destroy the school? I will tell you. I was but a lowly 16-year-old. I brought a guitar to school every day, as was my passion. I would play Iron Maiden songs acoustically all day. I would ignore teachers. I would ignore the advice of friends to get a girlfriend. I had not want for women. A wizard never wants for women. And one day in electricity class, I was putting my guitar up against the teacher's cabinet, safe from all the ruffians of the school. And I heard a very distinct voice behind me. "Empty your pockets and put up the guitar." I turned with vigorous rage in my silver eyes. I looked the hooligan down. He quivered a little bit, but he did not wane. Quite the caliber for such a ruffian to wield.
Glistened with grease.
His orange afro glistened with grease as his pockmarked face boiled with rage. He wanted my money, my worldly goods. I could not allow him to have such. I stood my ground, hand firmly on my guitar, ready to die for the music I believed in. But alas, I was saved by godly powers once again. The bell rang, and the teacher, bless his heart, hurried into the room to start class on time. Needless to say, the hooligan put up the gun, and he retreated to the back of the class. Promptly, I whipped out my cellular device and texted my mother. "I just had a gun pulled on me. I am never going to school again." Hoarse with fear and crying over the phone, she called me and said, "Who was it? Who pulled the gun out?" I told them what I knew. They took me out of class, asked which one it was. I pointed. Yes, I snitched. I'm not proud of it. Yes, I am. And then they removed him from the class, forever to be taken away. I too was removed, taken home, put in homeschooling, and I did not a day of work since then. I remained in my room, in my studies, practicing the 6 strings. I learned how to harmonize. I learned music theory. I learned what made Iron Maiden sound so good. I took all of these concepts and applied them to the music you now hear today in Black Rosary. And I am wiser for it. I feel that you all would be remiss if my music was not available to you today. Of course, seasoned by the wonderful Malachi Sweetser and his bass playing prowess. That is the story of how I had a gun pulled on me in high school.
Oh, that's so ugly.
What, the gun?
Yeah. In retrospect, do you think it was fake?
No.
Really?
I didn't think it was. The bore sure looked like a 10mm to me. They said it was a BB gun, but of course they'd say that, you know. They don't want students to, like, be tripping.
Was he wanting the guitar?
No, he was joking.
Yeah, but
But
that's
it's
not
like-
even a funny joke.
That's what I'm saying, right?
See, kids, that's why it's cool to snitch. Do you really want to, like, walk around with people like that? Forget about them. They're not going anywhere. Protect the greater populace by ratting on them.
I want you all to be prepared for one of our upcoming videos, going to Corden, Indiana.
Keep on the lookout for our abandoned theme park video as well. It's coming soon. I don't know how soon. I don't even know if it's coming soon.
It's coming in 5 years when we rule the world as a faceless band that has shown our faces.
Well, guys, I'd like to tell another story. This is a story of exploring oneself through freedom, financial debt, financial hardship, and eventually letting go. This is the story of how I gained a Challenger RT and lost the Challenger RT within a year's time. It all started with my 2015 Ford Focus. Though it was modern and though it was shiny, it had no soul. Deep inside it was blank. And every time I would drive it, the transmission would shudder, the transmission would complain and ask itself why it existed. I knew it didn't want to be, and I didn't want to be burdened with it. So I began to think about buying something new. You know, at first I wanted an economy car, you know. I was thinking in a pragmatic, logical sense. I was like, maybe I'll get a new Altima, or maybe I'll get a new Honda Civic or something. Because at the time I was really into Honda Civics. And really, I wanted something that was like lower power, but I could make it into something cool, you know. I was big into that mindset at the time. That is a mindset I've since renounced. But you know, back then I was a little younger. I would say this all happened when I was like 20, 21. Well, anyways, so we go to the dealership, the Toyota of Louisville dealership, and the lot is very unassuming. You've got your typical trucks, your vans, your econ cars, but hidden between these boring things, there was an octane red gem that I had yet to notice. I would first start out by test driving a Honda Accord, and it was alright, but I wasn't satisfied. So I then test drove a Maxima, and that was better. I remember I floored it at a stoplight, and it like squealed tires. I remember being impressed by that because I really didn't think it would. I was ready to pack things up when Draven here was like, yo, you should test drive that Challenger. And I didn't really want to do it because I actually thought it was a V6. I didn't see the Hemi badge. But I figured it'd be fun, you know, it'd be a cool way to pass the time, so I did it. And I remember when I floored it for the first time, my whole perspective on cars changed. I didn't know they could be so fun. I remember the sensation it put in my body, you know, kind of like a roller coaster except less extreme. I ended up really liking the car. So I ended up spending like 42 G's on it. I didn't actually buy it outright, I financed it. So yeah, I had it for about a year. I got up to a lot of stuff in it. I did a lot of debauchery. I traveled Kentucky. I would nightly go out and hit speeds of 140 plus. I'm not really sure why. It was really just to pass the time. I struggled with isolation a lot in those days. But eventually it got to the point where I couldn't afford it. I couldn't keep up with the 1,000 plus a month that I was dumping into that car. And I knew if I continued with that path of life, the car would end up destroyed and I would still be left with like 20,000 in debt. So I needed to get rid of it. So one day I had to make a choice. I had to give it up. And so, after having a lot of fun with the car, after a year of ownership, after a lot of personal ups and downs, one day I decided to drive it up to the dealership, leave the keys at the front desk, and walk away from that path of life. And actually, the very next day, I picked up the bass guitar. And look where that's led me. I would say it's been much more fruitful. So yeah, that's the story of the Challenger.
The lesson here, kids, is that you should always be irresponsible, because irresponsibility leads to responsibility. Many of you are no doubt wondering, Draven, why are you driving a GMC Terrain? And I will tell you. My lord grandfather, or should I say grandsire, sold this Terrain to me for nary 4,000 pence. And it has been a very reliable vehicle for Black Rosary in all its pursuits. However, I am a man of precision. I am a man of great speed and refined power. I require a Corvette. It is my ambition that by the end of this year, I will be in possession of a Corvette. And I will drive said chariot, said almighty Zeus carriage all over this country. I will no doubt be left better by the experience. And you will see it plenty in the Black Rosary videos to come.
Well, I'd say this has been a fruitful video. We've told some personal stories. We've saw the roads. Well, you guys haven't. We have. We've got beverages of the milk variety. And, yeah, I'd say that about wraps this adventure up. Don't forget to like and sub. And don't forget that we did it first.